Alien megastructure discovered around a far-off star? UFO International Project Alien Being Sightings. Alien megastructure discovered around a far-off star? NASA reveals new images of a pyramid valley on Mars. UP's real photo of a UFO mothership. Alien megastructure discovered around a far-off star? Alien megastructure discovered around a far-off star? Astronomers may have discovered a huge alien structure around a star, possibly harvesting energy off it. Could this be one of the first great finds by the Kepler Space Telescope? It appears so. A star which has been identified by the Kepler Space Telescope may harbor structures which could point to an advanced technological civilization surrounding it. It has been mentioned by one of the astronomers that the large cluster of unusual objects in space appear to look like something that you would possibly expect an alien civilization to build. A leading astronomer from Penn State University, Jason Wright, is all set to reveal an intriguing report to the world on the bizarre star system, suggesting the objects could be a swarm of megastructures. Jason recently told a leading UK newspaper The Independent, "I can't figure this thing out, and that's why it's so interesting, so cool, it just doesn't seem to make sense." Jason then went on speaking to The Atlantic. Aliens should always be the very last hypothesis you consider, but this looked like something you would expect an alien civilization to build. "I was fascinated by how crazy it looked," he said. "So exactly what has been seen out there? This is the question on everybody's lips." Clearly something spectacular for Jason to make such an incredible claim about what he has seen out there. One thing is for sure, they will not be showing this image to the world just yet, until they can either decipher what it is. But how can you explain the impossible? The star, named Kik 8,462,852, sits just above the Milky Way, between the constellations Cygnus and Lyra. The Kepler telescope first identified this star as a candidate for having orbiting Earth-like planets, drawing in much attention from the astronomy world. But what drew in the attention to this intriguing star was the fact that it was emitting a stranger light pattern than any of the other stars in Kepler's search for habitable planets, which led to many astronomers scratching their heads with confusion and led to the extra research. Kepler's only real true purpose is to hunt for habitable planets in space, and it does this by analyzing light from far-off parts of space, looking for any changes that take place when a potential planet moves in front of their star. But the dip in starlight from Kik 8,462,852 is not a normal pattern for a planet. In fact, this is a first for this type of event to be witnessed by the Kepler telescope. There have been other suggestions made by leading researchers about what this oddity around this star could be, including that another star had pulled a string of comets close to Kik 8,462,852. But even this would involve an incredibly improbable coincidence. I am pretty sure that NASA would like us to believe it is this. It is now very clear that the possibility that these objects were created by intelligent beings is being taken very seriously by the team of planet hunters, especially now that Mr. Wright, the astronomer from Penn State University, and his colleague Andrew Simeon, the director of SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, have now got involved with this investigation. It did definitely spark some lively discussions on the talk boards. We scrolled through the discussion boards and super users, and they let us know that there's something we should be watching out for, Boyajian says. What was unusual about that was the depth of the light dips, up to 20 decrease in light, and the time scales, of light variation, a week to a couple of months. Boyajian said. Summary: this all might appear a little too much like science fiction, but when you actually sit down and really think about it, as civilizations become more technologically advanced, they create new and far better, cleaner ways of collecting energy, which could mean the end result being the harnessing of energy directly from their star. So what could this supposed alien megastructure be? Well, it has been suggested that it could be some kind of solar panels surrounding the star, or perhaps some kind of alien technology which we would struggle to understand how it was made and how it works, created to farm the energy off the star. It is important to think about how far we have come as a species in the last 50 years with our own technology. Now just imagine a race of beings out there with say 1 billion plus years on us humans. There will be those out there that will shrug off this idea about an alien megastructure being found in deep space, but let's not forget that the leading experts investigating this field are the ones who thought up this idea. It makes you wonder what they have actually seen.